I was stressed out.
Hey guys, what's up? This is XWolfX here, and I hope you guys like that brand new intro video. Also, before I get started, see the 5 bottom cards here at the side part? I'm going to get into these guys later. Alright, before we also get started on this deck means a lot to me, and it's one of my favorites. It is the Elemental Heroes, or as the TCGU has been starting to call it, Totally Awesome Heroes. Now let's get started. Starting out with the monster lineup, I play 1 Neos Alias just for nostalgic reason, and he's a 1900 beater. 3 Shadow Mist, because this is the bread and butter of the deck. When it's special summon, you grab your Mass Change, or if it's sent to the graveyard, you grab your Bubble Man. 3 Tin Goldfish, because it's a level 4, it's a water, and when it's normal summon, it special summons 1 level 4 monster from your hand, so typically your Shadow Mist or your Bubble Man. Shadow Mist so you can get your Mass Change, or Bubble Man so you can go into Bahama Shark for your totally awesome play. 2 Summoner Monk, because, you know, you play a lot of spells, and ditching a spell for Shadow Mist to get your Dark Law is also an awesome play. 3 Bubble Man, because you want to keep your water level 4s consistent as possible, plus they're searchable. Onto the spells. 3 E-Call, because Emergency Call is an amazing card for heroes because it allows you to search one out. 1 Infusion, which a lot of people play 2 to 3 of. I like it as 1 because I like the ratio of 1 for 1 for the access to it. Where some people like to play 2 or 3 because of consistency. I just have the issue of I draw them like back to back. So I was like, nope, I'm just going to play this at 1. 3 A Hero Lives, because paying half your life points for a Dark Law doesn't really matter anymore in the game because pretty much you're either controlling or you lose in this deck. 1 Regeki, because blowing up all your opponent's monsters is very nice. 1 Rhoda, same reason as the E-Call, searching out your heroes. 2 Miracle Fusions, because I play 2 Absolute Zeros in this, and you play a lot of hero monsters and water monsters as well, so this card's always live. And it's always nice to have a Regeki on legs and then Harpy Feather Duster right after it. 1 Soul Charge, because, you know, rank 4s for days, or getting your Shadow Mist back for your Mass Change and Dark Law. Now, I do like this card at 1, Mask Charge, sorry, I don't know why I enunciated that so weird. Target 1 hero monster in your graveyard and 1 change card, quick play spell card in your graveyard and add them to your hand. So basically, it's a safe play, or it's a backup play, or an amazing top deck. 3 Mass Change, you know, the thing that allows you to change your hero monsters into the Mask Heroes. 2 Twin Twister, that way you can pitch a dead card in hand, like if you guys open up 3 monsters with Bubble Man, you can be like, okay, cool, pitch my monster, and blow up your 2 back rows. It's a win-win for everybody. Onto the traps. 1 Time Space Trap Hole, you know, to get around some of those pesky monsters that say, oh, hey, you can't be targeted and cannot be destroyed. I'm looking at you, Magispectors. 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, because, you know, it hurts pendulums or any big monster and banishes it. 1 Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare, just because it stops a special summon monster's effect, so it can stop their big plays. 2 Mirror Forces, just because when you have Dark Law out, it's like D-Prison on crack without the targeting. Now, we play 2 Phantom Knight Sword, which I'm still kind of iffy on the ratios what I'm doing with this, because you activate let me explain. When you activate this card, you target one of your face-up monsters, it gets 800 attack, and then also it cannot be, or if it would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy that card instead, you know, the Phantom Knight Sword. Which is really good with Dark Claw, because since Dark Claw is so low in attack compared to some of the other bigger monsters out in the game, it's kind of easy to run over Dark Claw. So when you have this, it's like, oh hey look, my Dark Claw is now 3200, and you have to attempt to destroy him twice. So he helps out a lot. Or, I don't know why I said he, because it's a sword. The sword is now a man sword. Alright, 2 Solemn Strikes, because once again, life points don't really matter in this game anymore. And this can shut down some of your opponent's big plays. Along with Solemn Warning, same reason. Now on to the extra deck. 1 Mascara Anki, because, you know, being able to attack for games sometimes is very nice with him. Even though it's just 1400, sometimes that 1400 means a lot. Or destroying your opponent's monster, sending it to the graveyard, getting your Mass Change, and turning him into Dark Claw is a great play. 1 Mask Hero Acid because Harpy's Feather Duster on legs is very nice, and also your opponent's monster will lose 300 attack, which sometimes can help you get over their big monster. 2 Absolute Zero because, let's face it, you play a lot of water monsters, so that passive 500 always comes up a lot. And the fact that when he is destroyed or whenever he leaves the field, you destroy all your opponent's monsters. So basically you're playing 3 Regekis. And then if you mass change Absolute Zero into Acid, you just wiped out their monsters and their back row. 1 Mask Hero Koga. Now this card, obviously I would not be playing if I wasn't playing Neos Alias. But this card can be a real, a surprise. Because he gets 500 for each of your opponent's monsters. And then once per turn, he can banish a hero monster from the graveyard and cut your opponent's monsters by that much. And sometimes that's just enough to get you game. Because generally my opponents will get out 2 or 3 monsters. I'm like, okay. So I have a 4,000 Koga. And then I'll be like, okay, banish the Dark Law you just destroyed. Game. 2 Dark Law himself. You know, the bread and butter of the deck outside of Totally Awesome. Okay. And if you guys don't know what this is, it's a Macrocosmos for only your opponent. So, you know, anything that relies on the graveyard, like Burning Abyss or Yang Zings, are just done for. Also, when your opponent searches or draws outside of their draw step or damage step, it can rip a card randomly out of their hand, which is good, but this effect is only once per turn. 1 Elder Entity Norden, just for your rank 4 plays, and it gives you access to Bahamut Shark, which Bahamut Shark is your stepping stone for Totally Awesome. 1 Bahamut Shark, and like I said, it's just used for Totally Awesome. You take 2 level 4 water monsters, so Bubbleman and Bubbleman, or Bubbleman and 10 fish, or 10 goldfish, or Norden. 1 number 37, Hope, Walvin, Dragon, Spider Shark. Now this card I really like. I really never tried to pronounce the agent's name. I'm just like, hey, here, read it. It takes 2 level 4 monsters, or 2 level 4 water monsters. When any player declares an attack, you detach a material, and your opponent's monsters all lose 1,000 attack, which allows you to get around their big stuff, and sometimes if you summon this, it's just like, oh, now I have to play around this card. Also, when it is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 monster from your graveyard, so typically you'll have a Shadow Mist in there, so you're like, okay, cool, destroy that. Okay, cool, I get my Shadow Mist back. Shadow Mist grabs your mass change, so you have a setup play for next turn, or potentially, you know, to end your turn, you at least have something. 1 Castell, because Book of Moon on legs is nice, or returning one of your opponent's cards. 1 Abyss Dweller, because generally you play a lot of level 4 monsters that are water anyways, so it's always going to get that like 500 boost, which helps out a lot in this deck, especially with how water heavy it is. Also, if you can't get out Dark Claw, it really helps out your matchup in like Yang Zing, Burning Abyss, or anything graveyard related. 1 Trap Chicks Rafflesia, just because, you know, your trap holes on legs is very nice. And then the other big man himself, Totally Awesome, or as the OCG calls him, Tree Toad. To actually summon his regular condition, you can't do in this deck because it requires 2 level 2 Aqua type monsters, which we don't play. But so you just use Bahamut Shark to bring it out. But basically, anytime your opponent activates a card, you're like, LOL, fight me, Scrubboard, I'm ripped. You pop Tree Toad off, and then you get to steal their card and set it on your side of the field. And then, if that's not enough, you get back your water monster engraved, so you can get him back, or you can get Bubbleman, 10 goldfish, and return it to hand, or in his case, he would go back to the extra deck. Now, I have these 5 cards down here. It's just kind of like undecided stuff. Like, I want to run the Utopia the Lightning Engine, but I don't know what I want to take in and put out just yet because extra deck space is really, really tight. Number 101, because I really like this card too. It kind of catches people off guard, and most people aren't expecting, but with targeting not being as good as it used to be, it's not, you know, like super effective, so that's why I'm like still iffy on it. And 2 Call the Haunteds, because like that's kind of in place of Breaksword. I don't want to do the 1-on-1 ratio. I just feel like it'd be kind of bad. I feel like it's more consistent if you like do 2, like run them in pairs of 2 so you see them more. Because there's been cases where I really needed Call the Haunted or Phantom Sword and vice versa, and it just, so I'm still like up in the air and throwing that up. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you do, please like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great night. This was XWolfX's Hero Deck Profile. Peace!